the first place you want to start is your market. What county do I want to start in? And so I would start at like a website like landmoto.com and just see where are the land investors buying land. And then I'd look at my budget. Well, how much land can I buy? Can I buy 5? I want to start with 5 to 7 parcels. So depending on my budget, that's where I'm going to start doing my math. And based on that, I'm going to pick that county. So if I have a low budget, well, maybe I have to go some really inexpensive lots in rural New Mexico. If I've got capital, well, maybe I'll start in Florida with some builder lots and do that. So that's really where I would start. And I want to buy 5 to 7 properties. For whatever reason, when you have that much in inventory, they sell faster. It's like this magic number.
You're listening to the Accredited Investors Only podcast, presented by Accredited Life.
Mark, welcome to the show. How you feeling today?
Peter, Neil, pulse is normal. Restoration's fine. Thank you so much for having me. I got to tell you, of all the podcasts, I think yours has the best name. Accredited Investors Only. That's like the best marketing.
Well, you know, it is funny because I had a friend that was helping me with this, and he said the same thing. He was like, wow, you're just calling it like it is. I mean, you're not talking, you're not beating around the bush. You know, you're just right in it with who the audience is and that kind of thing. And you know what it is? You see that term thrown around so much in advertising. You go on Facebook, you know, at least for me, every other ad is for a fund or syndication or something like that. And you always see accredited investors only.
Right.
You know, and I always feel like being in this space, you know, when you go to networking events and things like that, a lot of times they tend to be geared towards newbies and that kind of thing. So it's just, there's not always a lot of content that's geared towards accredited investors. And it's not that all accredited investors know everything when it comes to real estate. So I still very much try to provide a foundation when it comes to the understanding and the education and all that kind of stuff. And you'll see quickly when I'm asking you questions and stuff like that, I'm a simple guy. I mean, I like to understand things simply, start with that, and then get complex. You know what I mean? So it's not like, you know, that we're getting overcomplicated when it comes to, you know, the underwriting and all the kind of stuff that goes into it. But I feel like accredited investors look at things differently than the average folk does, you know, and they look at the opportunities differently, and they have different opportunities that are afforded to them with that status. So that's the goal. I mean, that's the mission. That's who the show's for and all. So I appreciate you saying that. Enough about me and the title of the show and all that kind of stuff. Mark, who are you? Why are you here? What are you doing? Let's talk about you.
Yeah. So Peter, I'm the Land Geek. And if we rewind the tape, 25 years ago, I was a miserable, micromanaged, 45-minute commute to work and back investment banker, specializing in mergers and acquisitions with private equity groups. And Peter, got so bad for me, I didn't get the Sunday blues, anticipating Monday coming around. I get the Friday blues, anticipating the weekend going by really fast and having to work on Monday. So my firm hires this guy, and he's telling me there's a side hustle. He's buying up raw land, pennies on the dollar. He's flipping them online, and he's making a 300% return on his money. And I'm looking at companies all day long, and a great company, has 15% EBITDA margins or free cash flow. Average company's 10%. I'm looking at companies all day long, less than 10%. Yeah. So of course I don't believe them. So I've got
too good to be true.
They're going to be true. So I got $3,000 saved up for car repairs. I go to New Mexico with him. We go to a tax deed auction. I do exactly what he tells me to do. I buy 10 half-acre parcels at an average price of $300 each. I flip them online, and they all sell for an average price of $1,200 each, 300%. It worked. So I took all that money, went to another auction, and this is in Arizona where I live. And again, it's 2000, and there's no one in the room, and I'm buying up lots and acreage for nothing. And I sell all that land. I made over $90,000 cash. So I go to my wife. She's pregnant. I said, honey, I'm going to quit my job and become a full-time land investor.
Crazy bastard.
Yeah. And she said, absolutely not. So I said,
yeah, really?
Okay.
Are you trying to get divorced here? Like, what the hell?
Yeah. Well, exactly. So it took 18 months for the land investing income to exceed the investment banking income. And then I quit. I've done over 6,500 deals and counting ever since. And I absolutely love it.
Oh, my God. Well, there is a lot to unpack there. And you know, it's fun. Talk about the context. I mean, I was telling you, I was just doing another interview where the guest love what they did. Yeah, I mean, love what they did. They don't want to stop what they were doing, and they deal with a lot of investors that feel that way. And we're talking about how that story's not told very much. I feel like your story is a little bit maybe more common, where you didn't necessarily love what you did. And I love what you said, the Sunday blues, Sunday scaries. You hear a lot. Started on Friday for you because you felt like the weekend was just gonna fly by, right?
Yeah.
What was it? What was it about that? What did you not like about it? And what does what you do now on the land side? What's different? I mean, what is it that gets you excited about what you do today?
Yeah. So I didn't like having no control of a deal,
Mm.
right? So, you go into due diligence and all of a sudden, this great company and they have a bad quarter and your deal is sunk.
Mm. Mhm.
Or the egos get involved and the CEO wants a perk that the private equity group's not going to agree to. And it,
Mm.
and it sinks the deal. And so in your mind, you're spending the six-figure commission, right? And
Mm.
and all of a sudden it's like a stiletto to your heart on the 11th hour because nothing, like, you can't control that deal.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I hated that piece of it. And so it's interesting because my relationship with control now is so different as I've gotten older. But when I was younger, I just thought like life should be like the super yacht, right? Just very smooth sailing. Now I realize life is more like the kayak,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Right.
yeah,
That's
I
good.
get
I like
whipped
that.
around.
Uh,
But that being said, I've positioned myself to control as many of the controllables in my life
mm,
as I can and let go of the things that I can't.
mm. I like that a lot. So God, so you didn't start with a fix and flip or the wholesale. You know what I mean? Like I love that. I mean, I feel like there's such a the more if you're in this business for a day, you can see there's like a typical progression that people take depending
Yeah.
on where they're at. You know what I mean? Like some people, if it's like if they don't have like a super high paying job or something like that, they might get into wholesaling, and then they'll flip a property and they'll keep a rental here and there, and then maybe they'll scale up to multifamily. You hear that all the time, and then they'll go beyond multifamily. You hear this thing. You were diving into into the land deals there. That was it. That was your first introduction.
Yeah, it's my first introduction. It really was like perfect for me
Mm.
because it was a process, and I just shuffle paper and make money. I didn't have to deal with any renters, rehabs, renovations,
Hmm.
rodents, and so I get this one-time sale and recurring passive income every single month without the headaches. And Peter, if you want, I can walk you step by step
Oh,
exactly how I do it. So
oh,
let's
we're
just
go, we're gonna do
replicate it.
that. Yes,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, because I think of land, as a residential developer and investor. When I think of land, I think about pushing dirt. You know what I mean? I think about adding value through the entitlement process and all, and then selling it, to a builder or doing it yourself. I mean, so I'm curious to how you look at that. You know what I mean? Or is it deals like that? You know what I mean? Or is it deals where it's going to an owner user? You know what I mean? Somebody who's driving ATVs and or parking a mobile home or something on it or all. So let's get into
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's all of the above, but I would say it's mainly what I was called a legacy investor,
Okay.
where they can afford the land and maybe they'll go out there, maybe they'll build on it, maybe they'll use it recreationally, but
Hmm.
they can afford it and they like the fact that here's this asset that can't be destroyed, nothing to maintain, nothing to protect. So, all right, Peter, you're in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume that you own 5 acres of raw land in Colorado
Wow.
and you owe $200 in back taxes. And this is public information.
Sure.
So you're advertising two important things to me. Number one, you've no emotional attachment to the raw land.
Mm.
You're in Pennsylvania, the property's in Colorado. And number two, you're distressed financially in some weird way. Because when we don't pay for things like
Like
free
it's
taxes,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
we don't value it in the same way.
Sure.
As a result, the county treasurer keeps sending you notices saying, Peter, if you don't pay your property taxes, you're going to lose that property to a
Mm.
tax deed or a tax lien investor.
Hmm.
So all I'm going to do is look at the comparable sales on your 5 acre parcel for the last 12 to 18 months.
Okay.
I'm going to take the lowest comparable sale let's say it's $10,000, and I'm going to divide by 4. And that's going to be what Warren Buffett would call a 300% margin of safety.
Mm.
So I'm going to send you an actual offer of $2,500. Now you accept it. Why? Because for you, $2,500 is better than nothing.
Sure.
In reality, 3 to 5% of people are going to accept my quote unquote top dollar offer. But now that you've accepted it, I have to go through due diligence or in-depth research to confirm you still own the property. Back taxes are only $200. There's been no breaks in the chain of title. There's no liens or encumbrances. And so I outsourced this to my team in Jamaica. They're connected to an American title company. It cost me about $11. Now, if I was investing, say, more than $5,000,
yeah,
I would just close traditionally through a title company. But the risk is low. So I'm going to send you a check for $2,300. I'm going to send the treasurer a check for $200. I own it free and clear. And now I'm going to make it cash flow like a rental home. I'm going to sell it 30 days or less. So, Peter, I have a built-in best buyer. Do you know who it is?
Is it you?
No, I'm buying. No,
I was gonna say I know. Yeah, like so, you flip it into some other business that you own or something. No, who the heck is it?
It's the neighbors. The neighbors.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to send out neighbor letters saying, hey, here's your opportunity. Protect your privacy, protect your views.
Yeah.
Know your neighbor. So oftentimes the neighbors will buy. Now, if they pass, I'll go to my buyer's list. The buyer's list passes. I'll go to a little website you may have heard of. It's called Meta or Facebook, buy-sell groups in the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go to the lands, land.com, landmodo.com, landandfarm.com, landsamerica.com, landflip.com, landhub.com. These are our platform for people buy and sell raw land. But the secret is in the pricing. So all I'm going to ask for is a $2,500 down payment.
Okay.
And then I'll make it a car payment. Let's say $329 a month and 9% interest for the next 60 months. So it's a one-time sale.
Yeah.
I'm getting my money out on the down payment. I could go 6 to 10 months out. And now I'm getting $329 a month at 9% interest. Again, no renters, no rehabs, no renovations, no rodents. And because I'm not dealing with a tenant, I'm exempt from Dodd-Frank, RESPA, and the SAFE Act, all this owner's real estate legislation. So then it's a simple game. Can I create enough land notes where my passive income exceeds my fixed expenses? And then I'm working because I want to, not because I have to.
Yeah. Wow. So you're essentially your seller financing it.
Correct.
Wow. You left me speechless.
Yeah, because now remember, banks won't loan on raw land.
Sure.
So we have this inefficient market.
Mm-hmm. So, wow. And then how is it structured where, so they stop paying the note? How do you take it back? Is it,
It's such a good
I think it would be pretty easy, right? No.
Yeah. So this is the secret to this business. It's like a fine wine business. So let's use our scenario, right? So you pay me $2,500 down on that property. Now you're paying me $329 a month.
Okay.
I have no cost basis anymore. Let's say you make 10 payments. Okay. And you default.
Yeah.
Well, I'm using a land contract, which means that I keep your down payment. I keep your monthly payments. You have 35 days to cure your default. Otherwise, you've lowered my cost basis. In this scenario, I have no cost basis and I resell the property and then it just extends out my return.
So you don't have to go to court or anything.
No, there's no cost of foreclosure.
Yeah. Is that in all 50 states or is the judicial versus non-judicial is it different?
Yeah, so Texas and Florida are a little funny. You got to use some legal language to work around that.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Interesting. Yeah. And this is a repeatable, I feel like it's one of those things where when you grow up in the suburbs of a major city, and not that we have land, like Chester County is horse country and so I could see rolling hills of land, but you don't think of what people would do with a piece of 5 acres out in Colorado or whatever. How did you get past that hurdle? Was that just that mental hurdle of who the heck's going to buy that? I feel like that's one of the things why people gravitate towards residential because they can envision who the end user is, whether it's a sale or it's a lease situation. They can envision the family with the kids or the single dad or the single mom or the older person or they can envision who it is. Retail, you can envision you've gone to, you get your hair cut at a strip center, right? I mean, chances are, or even a standalone, you go to a McDonald's or something, or, you go to the supermarket, like you can envision who these things are. Industrial, I think, is when it starts to get a little harder for investors, to envision who that tenant is and all that kind of stuff. For land, though, like this, like I said, I envision it as like a builder, you know what I mean? So, or a developer, whether it be homes or you name it. I mean, industrial outdoor storage or a storage facility or that, but for this, it's like how did you get past that mental hurdle of who's going to buy that once you buy it?
Yeah. So I'll tell you a story that helped me get over this hurdle. So I'm in Las Vegas, New Mexico.
I
And
didn't even know that was a place.
I know it's a place.
It's a real place. Wow.
There's a university there.
Okay.
And so I'm looking at all this raw land with my buddy. And these are, I believe, they're like 1 acre parcels. And nobody paid the taxes. They went to, and then they went to auction. Nobody bought it at auction. So now it's over the counter, which means you can just go to the treasurer and just buy it as many as you want. So there's 100 of these parcels, and we drive around, and Peter, I'm not exaggerating. It looks like Chernobyl to me. It is the ugliest land
Sure.
I've ever seen. And we could pick this land up for $50 each. Like $50 a lot. Like just, that's it.
$50 an acre. Yeah.
$50 an acre is like nothing. So my buddy's like, look, why don't we split this? I'll buy them up, we'll buy them and we'll, I'm like, bro, no one's going to buy this. Like, and if they do buy it and they come out here, look at it, one of two things are going to happen. Number one, they're going to want a refund. Or number two, it's going to be a lawsuit. It's that bad. He's like, I don't know. He's like, you never know. He's like, I could just double my money. I'm like, yeah, I can't do it. So he buys them all. And we're working together. So he starts emailing me each sale. And he's selling them for like $1,000 each. So,
wow.
And so I email him back. I'm like, refund. Another sale. I email him back. Refund / lawsuit. So this goes on and on. And he makes $100,000.
Oh my God. Wow.
And so guess how many refunds and lawsuits he had?
I'm going to say none.
None. So I realized I'm not the buyer.
Sure.
There is a lust for land in this country. And so now I don't judge in the same way. Like I don't eat McDonald's, but they sell 1 billion hamburgers.
Somebody's eating
right?
it. Yeah.
Someone's eating it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but I own a McDonald's franchise.
Sure.
So that's the way I look at it.
Well, who is it? Paint a picture for me. Like, just give me
so the
stories there.
So it's I would call it man jewelry, right? A lot of men want to buy raw land because they like the way it makes them feel. 40 acres, right? This Yellowstone type property, their own homestead. People who wanted to camp, fish, hunt, recreational use. Preppers, people are hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst.
Yeah.
And then as you get in closer to town, maybe an hour from town or closer, now you're into the builders scenario as well. And builders love the financing as well. So
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, I've never been stuck with a piece of raw land.
Wow.
I bought land on the side of a mountain and it's sold.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next. Is there a piece of land you wouldn't buy? Yeah, I mean, and if so,
there's the pieces of land I wouldn't buy are land you just can't access.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't buy in Pennsylvania or Ohio or New Jersey, anywhere there could be any industrial issues. Ohio, so you have to go to like a website called EPA.gov to make sure you're not buying a Superfund site.
Yeah, sure.
And I want to be in my biggest buyer pool. Like, let's just face it. Nobody wakes up and thinks to themselves, boy, I'd like some raw land today in Iowa, unless you live in Iowa.
Well, that's what I was going to say about Pennsylvania, though. Like people don't realize, like Pennsylvania, there's Philadelphia and there's Pittsburgh, and then everything in between is a lot. It's almost it's like the South almost. I mean, it's a lot of land. I mean, it's people it's a different culture. It's a whole different life cycle. So I'm surprised. Like I would think that this would be a good strategy. I know people now that I say this, actually, I was thinking about it when you said that and normal people too. You know what I mean? Not, gajillionaires or anything like that, who own land to exactly what you said. They bring the family there on the weekends and stuff, and they drive the ATVs, and maybe they had a little like cabin kind of a thing or something on there. And so I know people that have done that, because there's definitely parts of PA you could do it. So talk to me about like some of those things that you're looking for there from an EPA perspective and all that, and what about those certain states or areas that, why is it the case that they have those issues
Yeah, because there's a lot of industrial,
surrounding it?
and so
Yeah.
you just got to be careful. Super fun site, but
Mhm.
I wanted the biggest buyer pool possible. So I want to be in the Sunshine States:
Mm.
New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona, Nevada, a little bit
Mhm.
Oregon, Washington, California, Florida, then parts of the Midwest as well.
Mhm.
That's going to be my market and the biggest buyer pool. There's nothing wrong with rural Pennsylvania. I've actually owned a subdivision out there called Treasure Lake in Du
Mm.
Bois,
Mhm.
and it was gated and had 3 lakes and 2 PGA rated golf
Yeah.
courses, just overdeveloped. So I went in there and negotiated a deal to buy 1,000 lots that are overdeveloped, and they had POA fees, and people weren't
Mm.
paying the taxes. I'm like, look, you got all this dead money. I'm gonna
Mm.
resurrect it. So I went in there and negotiated a deal, and that was right before 2008.
Mm.
So I made about 100 grand on that deal before I had to give back the lots. I just couldn't sell them.
Mm. Yeah. So what percentage would you say do you focus on that, like the legacy that you were talking about, and people just, buying land for personal reasons and stuff like that, versus like the stuff that maybe is a little closer to the suburbs that you're going to finance to a builder instead? Is there like a certain percentage of your time that you spend on either one, or?
Yeah, no, the focus is because we're making our money on the buy. So that's really the focus, is where can we buy this asset 25, 30, 35 cents on the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the focus. And then we'll figure out who's the avatar for that piece of land.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What do you? When does zoning come into play? Does it? I mean, I'm sure you got to.
Well, we want residential, rural residential. If I
Okay.
can rezone it, right? If I buy agricultural land, that's fine too.
Mm-hmm.
Taxes are really low on that. But I try to avoid commercial property, industrial property.
Mm-hmm. I would think too, like, because a lot of people, the dream would be to maybe plunk a something on there, whether it be a manufactured home or a mobile home or RV or some kind of dwelling on there, so that they can have the weekends there, or, weekend, during the summer or wherever it's located at, whenever the time to go in the season is.
Exactly.
So, talk to me about how people can get involved. Like, what do you do? Is it educational? Do you do partnerships with people? Like, how do you work with investors?
Yeah. So I have a very simple mission. I want to help everybody that I can solve not just their money problems, but also their time problems. And I think that once someone does that, they can move up Maslow's hierarchy of needs
Mm.
into self-actualization and really do what their greatest purposes on earth, right?
Yeah.
And so passive income gives you that trifecta of time, money, and health at the peak of your life to go live your best life. So the way I'll do that is, if you've got no money and tons of time, I give you free content. If you've got a good job and a little bit of time, I have a done with you program. If you're rich and you've solved your money problems, then it's time to solve your time problems. And then I work with accredited investors to do that as well. So we have a done for you program where we have a partnership, and we work with them so that we can create their passive income as well. So we work with a lot of doctors and lawyers and people with, in the C-suite.
Sure. Well, let's talk about this then, because I for them, they're working with you, so it's hands off. But I'm sure there's the curiosity of what do you do on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
So for somebody who's maybe reading the free content, or wants to get involved in this for whatever reason, because they're in the real estate business now and they're done with the tenants and the toilets and all that kind of stuff. where would you say to get started? You know what I mean? Like what's your suggestion there? And then the path, to doing what you do essentially. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe if they have the goal or, the hope to make this a full-time job, the transition away from the tenants and toilets and all, let's talk about that. I mean, where would you say to get started? And then we'll talk about where you go from there.
Yeah. So really the first place you want to start is your market. What county do I want to start in? And so I would start at like a website like landmodo.com and just see where are the land investors buying land.
Hmm.
And then I'd look at my budget. Well, how much land can I buy? Can I buy 5? I want to start with 5 to 7 parcels. So depending on my budget, that's where I'm going to start doing my math. And based on that, I'm going to pick that county. So if I have a low budget, well, maybe I have to go some really inexpensive lots in rural New Mexico. If I got capital, well, maybe I'll start in Florida with some builder lots and do that. So that's really where I would start. And I want to buy 5 to 7 properties. For whatever reason, when you have that much in inventory, they sell faster. It's like this magic number.
It's like in sales, it's like as long as you're on the phone talking to somebody, the sales will come in. You just have to be talking to somebody.
Exactly.
Okay, so and how do you? So you said land. What was the website again? I know I've been on it before, but it just reminded me.
Landmodo.com.
Landmodo. And what are you looking for there? I mean, you can see different.
Yeah, you can see
sales
you can see all types of sales, what types of properties are listed, what resonates with you, but definitively that there's a market there.
Okay. That's
Based
to make it
on-
real.
Right. It makes it real. You're like, okay, well, these people are selling land in this area. Why can't I? So if you and I are fishing and we're on the lake and we see there's 10 boats on one part of the lake and they're out catching fish, but then we see another part of the lake, there's only 2 boats, but they're not catching any fish. Do we want to be the 3rd boat or the 11th boat?
Sure.
Well, it's counterintuitive, but I'd be the 11th boat because I know they're catching fish.
Yeah. So I would think some people would think, how come those people aren't? How are you getting it at a discount? You know what I mean? Like, because you mentioned there's, through the tax sale. Are you doing direct to owner?
Direct to owner, right?
Is that where you kind of live and breathe from an acquisition standpoint, or because I would think those, to your point, that's kind of telling you where people are buying and where there's transactions happening, and probably help with comps and things like that. But from an acquisition standpoint, you probably don't want to buy necessarily from those sites, because
you don't want to buy. No,
the
you don't
pricing there is going to be You want to go direct to the owner.
Exactly.
How am I finding them? You know what I mean? And then
so you go to a website like DataTree.com or Zamplo.com, and you can do a query, and you can get a list of real property owners in that county, and you can filter from there. You can always go straight to the county assessor. They will have the list as well, and then you'll do 2 filters. Number 1, you want to get rid of all the industrial commercial property, right? So the homes. So you might sort by VL for vacant land in the use code. So now you got all this vacant land. And then we're going to do one more filter, which is by assessor's parcel number, APN number, which is subdivision in size. So if I send somebody who has 40 acres the same offer as somebody with 5 acres, the 40-acre parcel person's going to send me back glitter in the mail. So I want to make sure I'm getting my comps right. Then once I've done that, I take that CSV file that I've created and I'm going to upload it to my software. And then it's going to automate sending out those offers. And I can do it on a drip. I can actually adjust my pricing in the software. And so using inexpensive virtual assistants and software, 90% of this business can be automated.
And that's direct mail, like a postcard or something. Okay.
I don't like postcards. I want to send an actual offer.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This is like an LOI.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nice. So, and then you said you're looking at the last 12 to 18 months or so, and
12 to 18 months.
Yeah. And if you're not seeing many, then that's probably not an area you necessarily want to be in. There's not a lot of transactions happening, or
well, it could not necessarily. There might not be a lot of transactions happening, but it might be a good market. So it just depends.
Okay.
Because again, we're having an inefficient market.
Yeah.
I mean, raw land's it's not going to be like housing where I can go to Zillow and just
Yeah.
see all these transactions. So I'm really going to want to know, can I get enough comps? And the comps are all over the place. It's because, again, it's inefficient.
Okay. So here's probably the question I would think some listeners are dying to hear. You got it under contract. You've gotten a price that you like. You've done your due diligence now, and maybe I'll get back to that question in case we missed anything, because we talked about like some zoning and the EPA and stuff like that. I'm curious if there's anything else, but the question I'm sure everybody's dying to hear is, how do you then market it to get somebody interested to buy it?
Right.
I know you mentioned some of the places you go and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I'm going to go
Yeah,
to the neighbors.
attractive. Yeah.
Yeah. So
What are you saying to them? It's just,
yeah, I'm writing a letter and saying,
here's the
hey,
price.
I own this land, and let me know. Well, I'm not giving them a price.
Mhm.
I want them to raise their hand, because oftentimes they might want to sell, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So now I'm getting a bigger parcel.
Yeah. Nice little
Getting
working.
joint lines. Yeah. So I'll do that, and then we just have a marketing machine as far as how we're targeting these avatars on Facebook and the lands. So we're just using the language of that buyer.
Yeah. That's what I was curious. You got to know the audience, right? For who, because how you would pitch something to a builder, right, is going to be different than how you would to, to the legacy, somebody who's recreational, living there or something, enjoying it for entertainment purposes and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And then what do you do from there? It's
So from there, I use so once I sell it, then we're going to set up our note, and we're going to use a tool called geekpay.io, and it's a set and forget it payment system. So we collect our down payment via credit card or ACH, and then we collect our monthly payments via ACH.
Nice.
And if the ACH would fail, we could have a credit card as a backup. So we know as a merchant, we're getting paid essentially.
Yeah.
And GeekPay is a profit center for us because we charge a note collection fee, we charge a note setup fee, and if there's an SF fee, right?
Mm-hmm.
So GeekPay handles all of that.
And is that available to everyone, or is it something
that's available to everybody?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Wow. So talk to me about, so I see this is a cash flow play here, right? I mean,
cash flow play.
So
I don't want cash. I want cash flow.
Yeah, exactly. Is there a long term? Because notes are a depreciating asset, right? I mean, they're paying them down every month, right? They're getting closer, to getting that paid off over time. Is there how do you look at like land banking as something as well? I mean, is there any long term? You look at that at all, or?
I don't look at it. If I find a deal where it's in the path of growth, I'll put it in my trust, and I'll just tell my heirs, hey, don't sell this until you get a 7-figure offer from a developer. But it's kind of rare. I'm not focused on that. So, the land banking model looks like a hockey stick. So you're negative cash flow, you're paying taxes. Yeah. Development hits, and it hockey sticks up. Yeah. I'd rather cash flow. If I need cash, I can sell the note at a discount to an investor.
Yeah.
And I'm also a net buyer of notes as well. So
is there a marketplace for that, for these types of notes, or?
Yeah, if you're me, there is for sure. It's not a big market.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
interesting.
Niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were talking before, this from an investor perspective, there's a good retirement account play here, because it doesn't, everybody's always concerned about UBIT and the IRAs and all because of leverage and stuff. But there's no really leverage at play here, right? Is there ever a time when leverage would come into play? I wouldn't think.
No, there's no. We pay cash, and there's no leverage, and so it's a great SEP or Roth play, because those returns can keep compounding, tax deferred or tax free.
Yeah,
and it's fantastic. But the other issue is there are no tax benefits in this play, because land lasts forever. There's no depreciation. So as an accredited investor, well, this is a fantastic way to get great returns and compound them tax free or tax deferred.
Yeah, that makes sense. Another reason why, in this self-directed IRA or self-directed retirement world, that it could make a lot of sense. Where do you see the market? How has the market changed? I mean, you've been doing this for a long time now. How has the market shifted? How have you shifted along with it? And what do you, when you take the crystal ball out, you know, what are you kind of looking at moving forward and all?
Yeah. So when I take that crystal ball out, I ask myself pretty much every day the Jeff Bezos question: if everything's going to change, which it is,
Mhm.
what's not going to change?
Mm.
And I think what's not going to change is that people always want a real asset, and they'll always want a good deal. And as long as those two things stay fundamentally true, I think I'm in the right niche. Now, as far as like the changes that I've seen in the last 25 years, it's been incredible. I mean, it's a cottage industry. We have virtual assistants that are pre-trained for this model. There's software now. It's a cottage industry, if you will. So the technology is incredible, and it's you can really scale so much faster than you could when I first started,
Mm.
for sure. And
Has
there's
that
money as well.
that's willing to participate
That's willing to
in this
participate.
industry?
Yeah.
Has that has it made the competition greater? I'm assuming when back in the day when you first got involved, there maybe wasn't as many people doing it. Now there's a lot of players in the space. Have you felt that at all?
I
Or
mean, we're in this sort of like Goldilocks niche where if you have too little money, it's not good. But if you have too much money, it's
Mhm.
not good. If you're private equity, you're a hedge fund, you got $1 billion, you're buying productive farmland and you're clipping 8% returns,
Mm.
right? I mean, this is too small for you. It's too many transactions to
Mhm.
do. So, as far as that's concerned, there really is no competition because there's billions of acres of raw land.
Sure.
And you couldn't think of a more boring real estate pitch. So you're not going to go on HGTV or the DIY network and see flip this land. The
Yeah.
before pictures raw land, the after pictures raw land. So if I go to a RIA meeting, a real estate investment association meeting, 100 people in the room, 99 of them will be wholesalers,
Sure.
landlords, and flippers.
Yeah.
You and I might be the only land guys there. So you have this really interesting non-competitive niche with a massive market.
Yeah. That's what attracts me to it. You know what I mean? Like that to me, there's something to be said for that. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm the kind of guy where it's like, well, if everybody else is doing this, let me look at what what else is out there. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to play in the sandbox with everybody else. You know what I mean? And it's just it makes it harder to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? And just more competition and all the issues that kind of come along with that. How much would you say, like from an economic standpoint, with recession and downturns, that's gotta have some effect, right? Would it change your buying, and I mean, like for what you're looking for? Because obviously in a recession downturn, there's always the people at the top that don't get affected. I mean, so maybe there's land and the opportunities there that they would lean towards more so than others. But I'm curious your take on that, because I would just think if people, it's like a self storage unit or a car wash or something. If they don't feel rich because of what's happening in their retirement accounts, or what's happening in the economy when they go to the grocery store or the gas pump or something, and it's just things cost more. Are you going to spring for the sell that seller finance a piece of land where it's something to do on the weekends or stuff like that? What have you felt with that over the years, and how do you feel that moving forward?
Yeah, such a good question. So 2008, 2009, 2010, the business was profitable. And I write about this in my book, Dirt Rich, as
Mhm.
well. But I had Parkinson's law of money. So the more money I made, the more money I spent. And so it just seemed like one day, 50% of my income dropped because people stopped paying on their notes.
Mhm.
And I wasn't really prepared for that. So the way the market cycle works in real estate, we're usually about a 10-year cycle. We're in a weird spot now. But usually what it's going to be, and what I've seen is that in the cycle, it's easy to buy and it's harder to sell
Mm.
when you're in a recession. As you come out of recession,
Sure. Yeah.
right, it's equilibrium. It's easy to buy, it's easy to sell. As the market heats up, well, now we don't want to buy anything because
Yeah.
no, we're not getting the deal anymore, but everything's flying off the shelf.
Mhm.
And so then we're preparing for the next dip. And then because we're not using leverage, interest rates can do whatever they want. We don't
Mm.
care.
Yeah. That's nice.
In a recession, if they default, great. They've lowered our cost basis. We resell at the new market value. No
Mhm.
problem. We just rebalance that portfolio. And so pandemic, no problem.
Hmm.
Nothing changes. We've got this asset that can't be destroyed, nothing maintained to protect. Hurricanes, no problem in this niche.
So talk to me a little bit more in detail about how the loans are structured. Like, is it a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year, 30-year?
It really just depends on the price of the property. We want to make it
Okay.
as affordable as possible.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if we can make it a car payment,
Mm.
it could be a nice car. It could be $1,000 a month. It's still
Sure.
car payment,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So we try to play in that area there. So anywhere from $99 a month to $1,000 a month is where we try to get our note, and that's just going to depend on that amortization schedule.
Mm. Wait, would you say there's an average, or it just
Yeah, maybe the average is 7 years.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is about right. I think the average mortgage only lasts 7 years before somebody, and now things are obviously different now with the way interest rates are, but it used to be, when I first got into the debt space, buying distressed mortgages, I think it was average was 7-year life cycle, because people would refinance and sell and all that kind of stuff. How do you set the interest rate? Do you have a kind of an interest rate you usually want to be at, or is that kind of same thing? It depends, or
Yeah, it just depends. I mean, we're making our money on the buy, time value of money. We can use that as a lever. So if we want to get more money down, we'll say, if you put this much down, lower a
sure,
point.
yeah, just like a car
Right?
payment.
Yeah, like car payment. So we'll use that in our negotiations. But I would say right now in this interest rate environment, we're probably averaging 12%.
Okay. Okay. And now, is there a lot of deals that you can kind of make all of your money that you've invested into the deal back on that down payment? Like, how is that something you see a lot of, or is it usually a certain percentage of it you can get back right away, or what does that look like?
Yeah, it's usually a certain percentage. It depends on the market and how hot that market is. So again, I can go 6 to 10 months out. I won't go any longer than 10 months out.
Okay, before you want to see your total investment.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So essentially the way the math would work is for every $1,000 I've invested, I need that note payment to be $100 a month.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. What percentage would you say that you do like a workout agreement on, where somebody's having to, they call you, you know what I mean? Like, I'm assuming you have flexibility, right? You know what I mean? And you'd want to work that out, and possibly, right?
Possibly, but again, because it's so profitable when they default.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah.
We're not inclined necessarily to do it unless they're a really good customer and they've got a really good story. Otherwise, in this current market, we don't do credit checks. We're looking at about a 12% default rate. I would say during a recession, you're like about 20% default rate. The Great Recession, I had a 50% default rate. So again, defaults are our friends. It's sort of the secret sauce in this business.
Yeah, because you can resell that, and that's, like you say, you're making your money on the buy, but you're also making your money on when they buy as well, and they put that down payment down. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, interesting. So wow, how much more? I know there was, when I talk about like the partnership and the relationship you have with investors and things like that. So yeah, how much more can we talk about that? I want to be,
Yeah, I mean, if you're an accredited investor, I'm happy to talk to you one-on-one about your goals and if, what it would take to have your passive income exceed your fixed expenses. For sure.
Awesome. Well, perfect. How can they learn more? I like what you were saying. You provide a lot of free content. Like you said, you have opportunities for accredited investors to work with you. Somebody wants to learn more about what you do and how to get involved. How can they do that?
Yeah, so I've got a book called Dirt Rich, which I'd love to offer the listeners for free. So I'll give you that link, and they could just pay shipping and get the book for free. That's a great place to start. Or we could go to landgeek.com as well.
Cool. Awesome, Mark. Well, this has been a great conversation. Love what you're doing. I'm sure this is, I feel like, do you feel like a lot of times when people talk to you, it's the first time they've learned about
it's the first time,
it,
and that's and it always is something that sort of surprises me because I've been doing this for so long. but it just kind of goes to show you how boring this niche is.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's a simple process at the end of the day. And now I'm sure there's all the things that go along with it, but there's not a lot of moving parts. I mean, so
Yeah. It's a pretty simple model. It's not easy, right? Nothing's easy,
Sure.
but in relation to other real estate niches, this has the least brain damage.
I like it. Well, Mark, thank you so much for the conversation. I appreciate your time and love what you're doing. And so I can't thank you enough for being here with me.
Peter, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.